For all you Iron Maidens out there, it's time to get our chainmail cheek on as we cleavage our way through a list that might make you say dame as you buff up your armor's class and sass. It's the female armors of Skyrim ranked from worst to best. Oh boy, sorry, girl. This one was actually pretty rough. I'll be honest, over my Skyrim career, I've maybe played 3 female characters, 2 of which were a Khajiit and Argonian, so I'm probably not the best equipped literally to discuss and rank these sets. It's nothing against a female Dragonborn or playing female characters, as I actually almost prefer playing those more often in RPGs, with characters like Femshep and Cassandra from Odyssey being vastly superior to me. But as I viewed and reviewed these armor sets, I began to suspect why I was never drawn to it in Skyrim, as honestly a lot of these are just downright atrocious. Boob armor and sad, muddy textured goon bait sort of define many female armors within Skyrim, and this is pretty painful at times, so buckle up and share that pain with me as we dive in. However, as a note, I've combined both light and heavy armors in this particular list and excluded most armor sets, as other than the aforementioned boob armor, they do almost nothing to differentiate themselves from the male versions, and re-reviewing them just kind of felt pointless and tedious. With all that said, if you find yourself enjoying the trauma, then like and subscribe for more rankings. Now let's put our guard up. Number 18, Falmer armor. If you thought the Falmer could rally and get a win with their more feminine take on disgusting, blind crafted bug armor, you thought oh so wrong. The female version of the Falmer armor shares pretty much all the same traits as the male variant, inexplicably structured and unwieldy, heavy yet protecting nothing, downright hideous and off-putting. Everything is made worse by just how poorly fitting this armor appears to be though, like it was just shoved onto your character as she does her best to retain some type of dignity within it. It remains offensively bad, still the worst looking armor set within the game, and on a female Dragonborn is only compounded and somehow even more humiliating. While that's extremely harsh, the placement and general appearance of the armor is still just completely baffling to me, though I must admit I should probably give it some slack given it's intended to be worn by hunched over, golem-like creatures who live exclusively in the dark. Even still, 0 out of 10 would not blindly throw on gross bug parts again. Number 17, Forsworn armor. While I swore the Forsworn armor off completely in my light armor ranking, I have to say I completely stick by that decision, as this is frankly embarrassing. While I may alienate a good portion of viewers by saying this, given the insane popularity of certain mods for Skyrim, I just do not play this game for its sex appeal. That's not to say certain characters aren't appealing, like my bloodthirsty Queen Serena or the irresistible Jarl Balgruuf, but there's just much better games for that. So the sexy female armors of Skyrim, given the rugged, gritty, and grounded aesthetics it goes for, just does absolutely nothing for me. They sort of just captured the cheesy, over-sexualized fantasy trope of the metal, or in this case fur, bikini-clad warrior, which I know carries into the male armor versions as well in some cases. Given the strong history of the Forsworn and their ties to Skyrim, this armor just makes no sense for me for anyone to be wearing in the frigid lands of the Nords. I know it's a more primitive take on fur armor, but even still you'd think a rugged, outcast people living in the wilds would know to at least throw in a little more protection before charging into battle or roaming through the frosty peaks. It's not like the Forsworn have a seductive charm or angle to their lore at all either, although maybe the Forsworn women tempt men traveling on their way, like half-naked fur-clad sirens laying out on snowy rocks and calling to those that walk the roads, which as I'm typing and saying this is just hilarious enough to now be my headcanon for why they dress this way and how they recruit more people to their cause. However, this armor set overall, once again, is just embarrassing. Number 16, Padded Steel. When I have to double and triple check if an armor set really looks like that or is some weird clipping issue or bug, you know we have a problem. I get what Padded Steel was intended to look like, or at least can guess at it, basically just fur armor with a steel cuirass and belt thrown on top. However, the actual appearance of this armor set with its incredibly awkward horizontal shoulder pad thing just looks awful. Why is it just jutting out for seemingly no reason? I'm still not entirely convinced this armor set isn't bugged in some way, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Regardless, saying anything more would just pad my list, so the Padded Steel falls flat. Number 15, Golden Saint. But if it's cheesy 80s style high fantasy we want, then the Golden Saint has us covered, if not our character. Given the otherworldly nature of the Ariel or Golden Saints, the Daedric followers of Sheogorath, I can hand-wave these stylistic choices here to an extent, and considering they carry directly over from Oblivion, I guess I can't judge it too harshly. However, much like the Golden Saint male version, the females just looks incredibly awkward and out of place in the world of Skyrim. The golden hued metal has a really strange appearance that doesn't blend at all, and it really sticks out as a half-finished creation club or modded addition to the game. But the actual design is also incredibly ugly in my opinion, with this weird leather corset under a chainmail bikini straight out of an old Conan the Barbarian comic. The helmet just looks terrible, and the only saving grace here is the sort of avian-themed scale mail, which I think is cool but needed to be more prevalent in general. The gauntlets aren't bad either. They have these really cool bird-like talons segmented finger plates plates, which I think look great. But overall, there's nothing holy about this saint. Number 14, Lord's Mail. I don't have too much to say for the Lord's, or in this case, Ladies' Mail set, other than pointing out how on the female version, even more so than the male, this looks sort of like a cheap cosplay or costume you might see at a Halloween store. There's something about the flat textures and generic fantasy design that just seem like a poor man's Roman cuirass, though I do like the chainmail skirt and few overlapping plates, so if you want to go a more dark Imperial Assassin or Inquisitor type, it's not an entirely unsalvageable set from a role-playing perspective. Number 13, Dark Seducer Armor. Oh yeah, now we're talking. This is the content you came for, I'm sure. I better make sure to include this aura of pure sexiness in my thumbnail if I really want to get those clicks. While seductive isn't exactly the word I'd use for this armor set, especially with its weird metallic plumed helmet, I can see what was being attempted here. Much like the male version, however, this is just not an armor set I would ever see myself using for any meaningful amount of time, given that it mostly just looks equal parts ridiculous and uncomfortable. With several spikes and points of metal over various vital organs, any attempt at actually fighting or even moving in this armor would likely result in your character bleeding out before even engaging with the enemy. The pauldrons could have worked, but they're just awkwardly strapped onto your character's arms, though much like the Golden Saint, I think the gauntlets are awesome, with much more menacing looking spikes of metal extending outwards towards your hands. All in all, if your enemies feel seduced by this armor set, then they kinda deserve what's coming to them. Number 12, Hide Armor. While the hide armor for the most part is exactly the same as the male version, I had to highlight just how stupid looking the simple leather vest is, as it's barely held together by some fraying twine. Between this and the male version, I'm not sure what's worse, as that one features just a simple leather strap and massive metallic disc in the center. While the vest looks appropriately rugged and well worn, I can't help but feel this was done for a very specific purpose. As an armor design, the hide armor should stay well hidden. Number 11, Steel Soldier. While from the neck down, this armor set looks just as good on a female character as a male, I couldn't help but notice just how absolutely massively oversized the helmet appears to be. This looks like your character's a little kid in a stormtrooper costume. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but it's unfortunate, as I find the rest of the set pretty awesome, strange breastplate shape notwithstanding. The singular pauldron and battered, worn appearance of the steel gives your character a hard mercenary look, and without the helmet is actually one of my more favorite straight up warrior female sets within the game. Number 10, Ebony Mail. I had to highlight Ebony Mail just for its extreme boob armorness. Boob armor has always been a hotly debated topic among internet and fantasy nerds, and I fall pretty firmly in the it's extremely lame looking category. Logically, it just makes no sense, but even from a design perspective, I feel like it takes so much focus away from other elements for a very stupid reason. And the Ebony Mail highlights that for me perfectly, as I think the rest of the set looks badass as hell on the slimmer, more narrow frame of Skyrim's females. Just picture a more traditional, flat, dark breastplate here, and the set becomes one of the best looking female armors within the entire game, in my humble opinion. Number 9, Ancient Nord. This is my hear me out set in Skyrim for females. Ignoring the strange, completely exposed back and somewhat awkward boots and legs, I think this is a great looking set with the female variant specifically, much improved over the male version to me. The Handler helmet is just awesome, as I think that's a very cool choice that better breaks up the profile and creates a much more unique silhouette than most horned helms within the game. The pauldrons and few strips of metal across the chest complement each other really well, and I think the long dark green sleeved wraps under the wrist guards also look great. It has a very unique coloring, and once again, specifically on female, I think this is a really good set. I'll just tell myself that this armor is only for the bravest of warriors, as any attempt to flee means almost literally painting a target on your completely exposed back. Number 8, Dragon Plate. I wanted to highlight the Dragon Plate armor as well, as it's somewhat unique compared to its male counterpart, really only in the chest and general shape of it. Once again, I think the set just fits better for a slimmer frame, as it reduces a lot of its bulkiness and oversizing as seen with the male version. It's still very heavy and appropriately bulky, but especially how the vertebrae in the spine and back come together, it just looks a lot more compact and powerful to me for some reason. The chest plate is almost disturbing, clearly being bone with these creepy holes lining the inside. This looks much more bone-like and sinister than the male version, and I think that does it all the favors here. While many of my same complaints for that version can carry forward, I think this is better executed and an armor set well worth wearing as a late game powerful Dragonborn. Number 7, Ancient Shrouded Armor. This armor just fits way better on a female body and gets a spot higher in my list for being associated with one of my favorite characters within the game. Although once again, the large, terribly textured studs knock it down a few pegs, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say here. Number 6, Elven Armor. While we once again have boob armor, it's slightly helped by being covered covered by some winged metallic plates. The elven armor set is just as elegant and beautiful as ever, and again, given the narrow and sleeker frame of the females in Skyrim, looks even better here, as it is completely fitting for an agile, stylish, and graceful warrior, one who can dip and weave through enemies in fluid motions, aided by light, intricately designed armor. The eagle motif looks great as ever, and you have to hand it to the Zaltmer, they know how to aim high, elves. Number 5, Vigil Enforcer. Considering I missed this Creation Club edition, the Vigil Enforcer armor in my heavy armor rankings, I thought I'd include it here with my thoughts. Slight boob armor notwithstanding, this is a really great looking armor set in general. The helmet stands out to me, almost being a variant of the elven helm, yet heavier looking and with less prominent flaring wings. I think it just looks awesome. The heavy steel plating looks good across the entire set, looking appropriately protective and fitting given what the Vigils of Stendarr are intended to track down and hunt. While I can enjoy pocked and dented armors that have seen some use like this, I don't love the coloring here quite as much as others, as it has this very dark, almost rusted look to it. It looks more like it wasn't cared for as well rather than a well-kept, battle-worn piece of gear. It's a very minor detail, but it does stand out to me specifically with this one. The armor skirt, gauntlets, and boots all look great though, and I love the added detail of the fur padding underneath in different areas of the armor, which adds nice protection from the elements as well. Overall, a great looking set, further enforced by its place in the world. Number 4, Vampire Armor. While exposing your chest as a vampire, famously definitely not pretty much your only weak spot, could be a gamble and probably makes no sense, I think it actually works in this case. Unlike the Forsworn or Golden Saint, vampires do have a long history of using sex appeal and seduction to lure their hapless prey. I mean, in-game you literally get a charm ability called Vampire Seduction. So this is a case where it actually works out really well for me. The tight-fitting clothing, while maybe not as elegant or stylish as I would have liked, does have some of those elements, and I'd probably happily follow anyone wearing this outfit considering what pretty much everyone else in Skyrim wears and looks like, bloodsucker or not. The connected collar and shoulder piece with a few overlapping leather parts I think look really great and very fitting for a powerful vampiric being. Honestly, after reviewing it, it's probably become my second favorite female light armor set within the entire game. Number 3, Nordic Carved Armor. While yes, the boob armor does immediately and literally pop right out at you with the Nordic Carved set, given how stylistic and heavily carved and engraved the armor is, I think it actually works for me here. The Nordic Carved armor is clearly intended to be a powerful yet intricately designed and almost ceremonial piece of armor, and I think it's definitely one of the best looking heavy sets for females within the entire game. The amount of intricate detail on the metallic plates is just amazing, and the black fur collar once again adds an appropriate amount of drip and swagger to this powerful set. The bear helmet isn't grisly, it just looks great as always, and once again I'm drawn to it as the canon, at least in my mind, high-level Dragonborn armor set, as this is exactly what I picture them wearing as they become fully Dragonborn, capable of shouting dragons to death and cutting through anyone in their way. With the Nordic shield and weapons, this entire package becomes one of the most badass and intimidating armor sets within the entire game. Number 2, Silver Armor. Unsurprisingly, in second place we have Silver. While the Silver armor isn't distinctly different from its male counterpart, I had to include it at the top just because I think it looks absolutely awesome on the female model. It's even more Dark Souls-like somehow, with its completely unnecessary yet badass hood over a full plate helmet, intricately engraved runes and designs, soft blue with gold trim. After reviewing and viewing various armor sets for the females, this is frankly my favorite heavy armor one for them. It's a great set for a full-on knightly warrior or battle mage. Blue's just such a great color choice for armors in Skyrim as it complements so many different areas of the tundra and the magic in general, which tends to have a soft bluish glow. The asymmetrical pauldrons are once again a highlight, with the heavier left side looking adequately protective and powerful. The various leather belts and pouches are a nice touch too, making this look like the perfect adventurer's heavy armor, and not just some ornamental showroom piece. This remains a silver lining in the dark clouds that permeate the female armor sets. Number 1, Nightingale Armor. With the best heavy armor set out of the way, it's time for the light armor. The Nightingale set, much like the Silver, doesn't drastically change its overall shape or textures, but instead is top of my list because, while I ranked it as my favorite overall light armor in the game, I think it looks even better here in its female version. With its still armored yet slender and lean profile and silhouette and dark mysterious hood and cloak, it continues to be the most badass looking armor set within the entire game to me, which is impressive as it's a vanilla set. I think the slimmer body and overall shape work even better here for a quick, stealthy assassin or nimble warrior, with your shadowy cowl being the visage of a reaper, here to claim the lives of any unfortunate enough to get in your way. The fingerless gloves still allow for plenty of dexterity and nimbleness, and when going full stealth archer or ultimate thief or assassin, it's really hard to make the case against this being sort of the top tier endgame gear you can wear at that stage. Again, I'm slightly biased because I really enjoy the Nightingale questline as well, but I'd be hard pressed to find a light armor set that looks more fitting and deadly than this in all of Skyrim. 10 out of 10 would regale you with the Nightingale again. And there we have it, some of the standout female armor sets within Skyrim, very subjectively ranked. I know this was shorter and maybe a bit more negative than usual, but I still had fun and hope you did too. Let me know which female armor sets I should have featured, or which are your favorites within the game. That's it for me, until next time.